All right, everybody. Well, it's been a busy weekend, and we worked mostly in the top garden. If you remember from previous videos, we have doubled our garden size this year, and I'm trying to get the fence up and trying to get everything in prior to a couple weeks from now when B will be planting pretty much everything. So we spent most of the time up there. I'm just going to give you a quick run through, and you can see some of the things that we're working on in the garden, and I'll go do a final video once we get it all done and the plants all growing. But I hope you enjoy it. Let's check it out. Come on. Okay, so my beautiful bride wants a fence around this new garden. So this back line here, what I got to first do is get the string in here, and as you can see, I run that string line all the way down so that I can keep it straight. And then I'm going to come by with my marking paint. See that mark? I'm going to mark it every 10 feet so that I know where to drill my hole, and then I'll take the spray can and I'll mark it the other way to create a cross right along that string line. So once I get all of them in, then I'll drill the holes and begin the fence. So B's taking the stake out. She's going to wind that string up for me. So if you look back, I've marked right where these holes need to be drilled along this back fence line. Cutting poles is a pretty easy process. Just a string, some spray paint, tape measure. The hardest part for most people is just digging the holes, and I'm fortunate that I have a skid loader with an auger that'll make super light work of it. So guess who I caught lollygagging again? Yep, there's my beautiful bride, continuously on vacation. But seriously, no, it's pretty neat to watch her get involved and get in the skid loader and dig holes. And guys, I'm going to tell you something. We may not always be around. We need to make sure that the people in our lives can take care of themselves, and that's by teaching them to do the things that we do. It's super empowering, just like when she was up on the rocks at the fireplace, one of my previous videos. So it's super nice. But anyway, she's going to go around and dig these holes, and then we'll come by and put poles in. So typically the skid loader will dig that hole in about less than a minute. She's not as comfortable on it as I am, so she goes a little bit slower. She's a little more cautious when she comes in and out of it. But an auger is a pretty cool thing. What I like about it much better than a skid loader is you get to put down pressure on it, versus on the back of a tractor when you don't get the same kind of pressure. So again, she's got about 20 holes to dig. We'll have to watch her run around. Last year we planted 800 trees, and I could dig the holes faster than she could plant the trees. I'd get 20 or 30 or 40 ahead, and then stop and go back and help her. But now obviously this is sped up, but certainly makes light work of it. And I actually don't know if that's her or me, but one of us. But yep, nice simple process. Super good tool to have. I don't know if any of you guys are contemplating out there on whether to buy a tractor or a skid loader. And what I can tell you is this: is that there are some things that both do better than others. But if you're in construction mode and you're trying to build houses and fences and coops and all of these things, the skid loader will outperform the tractor hands down. Not even close, at least in my experience. Now, when it comes to other things, like tilling the garden, mowing, doing some of that kind of stuff, that's a nice knee pole. The tractor will do just fine, but for this kind of construction work, this is a much, much, much faster way to do it, and much more control. You can see right where you're at. So here she is digging the final hole, making light work. From here, what we'll do is we'll get the skid loader, we'll change it out, we'll put the pallet forks on, we'll pick up the poles, and then we'll start laying them in. I guess there was one more. I guess that's me. She must have got off. Okay, we'll dig this, and then we'll go get the poles and get them set in. Those poles you see laying there, that pole right there, and the rest of the poles that I'm going to use come off the top of the turkey coop. Remember when I was building the turkey coop, the poles were awful tall. So just take them, lift them up my pallet fork, slide them in the hole, take my old butt and lift them up, get them to drop in the hole. A little bit of a pain, but it ain't all bad. There you go. Then once we drive around and get them in there, then I'll go back and set them level. And you'll see I load these, side by side in a particular way so that I can just make light work. See, I'll just stop, pull it up right there, right about where I want it, stop, get out, put it in. It's pretty easy. The hardest part's really just climbing in and out of it, but it's not too bad. So the good news is the poles I didn't pay anything for. I got the poles for free, and they're going to end up providing me a turkey coop, a sheep house, and part of Bethany's garden fence. And I know that she's super excited, to get busy putting the garden in, and we are too. So once we dug the holes, next thing was this back fence is made out of metal pipe, and that's because most of my property is surrounded in metal pipe, and I want to continue that. So I'll brace them, put a clamp up there on a 2x4, run it down to a brace, level it up, fill it full of concrete, onto the next hole, onto the next hole. You can see the concrete laying there. I put 3 60-pound bags in each hole, and I, I've probably done 200 or 300 of these so far, but it's a process when I can find pipe. But anyway, so with the back part of the fence pipe, the rest I'm going to do out of those wood poles and T-posts just because I have them, and they cost me nothing. But as you can see, that's a pretty easy deal. I'll come back the next day, take all the braces off. So it was to fill that with water at some point. But so see, I got all the poles in. I'm just sitting there, and now I just got to walk around and level them. And they're not concreted in. They're big enough around that I'll just stuff the clay back down in there, pound it down in there. And these poles are super temporary. They'll, I'm hoping to make them 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and before I have to replace them. But as I get hedge posts and things that I cut out of the property, I can, go around and do it. So if you look around, all the poles are set, and the garden's looking closer and closer. Man, those piles look at all those clods in there that need all cleaned up. We'll do that too here in a little bit, but in the meantime, I got to keep building fence. So as you can see, I've got most of the poles level. I've started to build fence. There's some T-posts up there, and so I'll put a couple T-posts between each one of those big poles, and I don't know if I'll cut them off or not, but I need to deal with these big dirt piles. I need to find Bee because she's on vacation, and get her out here with a shovel breaking up all those dirt clods. So it took her a little bit, then bam! Well, look how pretty that is. No, she didn't really do that with a shovel. We took the tractor and the tiller and ran through it and broke it all apart, but I'd like to see her out there with a shovel, but I wouldn't. That'd be a whole lot of work. But those beds, cover them in paper, and they're ready to plant in. Well, the weekend was busy. We managed to get most of the top garden in, managed to get the dirt broken apart. Now we're going to lay paper on it, and we'll roll the hay up and down the aisles, again, trying to make it weed free. I got to get most of them set, most of the fence in, got a little bit more work to do. But pretty quick, we'll have that wrapped up, and she'll be off and planting, and I can get back to work on, the turkey coop and some of those other things. But anyway, I really appreciate you guys watching, and like I always say, hold the line, don't give an inch. Tag, out. See ya.